I guess the one name that I've seen a lot in the chat, Derek, is a guy that's not a free agent, but everyone's saying trade for Devin Williams makes sense. I think the Brewers did say he is available. I
Yeah.
would be interested for the right package. He's got good stuff, great changeup. He kind of replaces the Tommy Kahnle in terms of stuff, except he throws a pretty good fastball.
Here's the issue with trading for a reliever. There's a lot of good relievers that you can get for just money, right? So
Yeah,
why give up the prospects? We know that Brian Cashman is a prospect hugger. I don't think they'll do it. I can't see them trading for a big time reliever, especially when they turn like nobodies into big relievers all the time. But
yeah.
let's talk about the bullpen because there's a lot of arms out there, and I'm going to put some of them up on the screen here, and we can kind of just go through. Tanner Scott, obviously the cream of the crop. Jeff Hoffman, he was with the Phillies. He went 3-3, 2.17 ERA. He's got some insane
Got a nice
Statcast
savant
visuals.
page.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of red there, baby.
Mhm.
I mean, that's some good stuff. He is 31 years old, so probably still got a couple of good years in him. The problem with relief pitchers is you don't want to go too far on the contract because a lot of times they wear down or they get hurt and they're just not as good at the end of the contract. I'm sure some fans will remember Steve Carsey. Carlos Esteves, which is actually the same name that's Charlie Sheen's real name. And yeah, but is 6'6", 277 pounds, so a big boy, Aaron Judge sized basically. 2.45 ERA for the Phillies. Not really a strikeout guy. 50 strikeouts in 55 innings. The thing that concerns me about Esteves is if you look at the ground ball rate, it's really low. It's in the 5th percentile, and if you look at the hard hit rate, it's in the 18th percentile. So people are hitting the ball hard and hitting it in the air, which to me means home runs and extra base hits.
Mhm.
Right. So
Mhm.
that's the one thing that worries about me. But, you look at the numbers, they're good. I mean, you can't argue with that. David Robertson, I don't think he'll come back to the Yankees. There was a little bit of an issue when he left in the clubhouse between him and Brian Cashman. But if they decide to bring him back, he's going to be 40 years old, but he's still effective. 99 strikeouts and 72 innings pitched, 3 ERA for the Rangers. There's a few other guys here. I mean, Aroldis Chapman probably not coming back because of the way he left, but still throwing 105. Clay Holmes obviously out there. We know what he is. Kenley Jansen, another guy who could be going to the Dodgers. He said he wanted to go to the Dodgers to end his career. He's 37 years old. It would make sense to go sign like a 2-year deal with the Dodgers right now. We got some older guys like Kirby Yates. I mean, Danny, Colombe. I mean, I don't know what Brian Cashman is looking for. He tends to look for these guys that are kind of like the Jake Cousins type that are under the radar. I could see him trading for some guys that you're not expecting and, that don't really have big names and then becoming big relievers. But if they sign some of these guys, or let's say pick 2. Let's assume that they're going to try and go after Tanner Scott. I think they might go after Hoffman, Esteves. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say Scott and Hoffman are obviously they're at the top of the page with the highest WAR, but I'm looking at the age. Age is definitely a factor with relievers. They burn out pretty quickly. The other guy who's the younger person on this list is Leclerc. He's
Mm-hmm.
got pretty good stuff as well. But Scott and Hoffman, Tanner Scott, that was like a name. Tanner Scott and Jeff Hoffman, those would be the two names that I'm obviously interested in, specifically Tanner Scott. And I just don't see us signing too many free agent relievers just because, again, the Yankees have shown they're very good at turning in nobodies into something.
Right.
Uh, I hate Clay Holmes like everybody does. I don't hate the guy, but I mean, come on, like he blew a lot of games for us,
I
but they
didn't.
turned
I didn't.
him.
I didn't hate him as a middle reliever. Like I thought
No,
he was really good in the ALDS and then for part of the ALCS until he had that
yeah.
he gave up
He
that
just
home
wasn't a
run.
closer. That's
Right.
it. He just some guys are just not made for that. Luke Weaver, yeah, he burned out. The dude had the mentals to be a closer. I think that's something you can't measure. But Clay Holmes, they turned a nobody into something. Jake Cousins, they did it with him. There's just so many examples with this regime with Matt Blake and Brian Cashman. They have their issues, sure, but Matt Blake can turn some randos into good
Yeah.
relievers. I don't see them spending a lot of money on relievers, especially since the whole Britton Chapman thing. So Scott and Hoffman, the two best arms, they'll maybe try to spend money on those guys, and then they'll fill in with the nobodies like they normally do.
Yeah. Adam Lamparello says we need hitters throughout the lineup. We need 3 quality starters. We don't have them. Expect more of the same next year. It's almost like we have an offseason coming up and a chance to patch these holes. It's almost the Yankees aren't going to stand pat. And even if it was more of the same next year, we went to the World Series. We played in the World Series. It wasn't a miserable year. We got a voicemail about that. Yeah. But I think that they're definitely going to try and shop around for a top, like a back end of the back end of the bullpen guy, whether it's Scott, whether it's Hoffman. I think they're going to try and get an outfielder, and I think they're going to get either a first baseman or a third baseman. This was a clip from a recent podcast. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and check out the full episode. Ball game over. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.